Good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Gregg Show. I am Kevin Gregg. Uh, yes, double checking, making sure that everything is streaming out to you, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have you here. Um, isn't that funny? All right. Uh, hi. If you'd like to join the conversation, please feel free to do it. A lot of this is about just having live conversations with you when I get the opportunity. Uh, what is on my mind this morning? I will tell you what, I was taking a look. There was a quote from Karl Barth. He was a Christian theologian. And I love this. He says a Christian should have a Bible in one hand and a newspaper in the other. I think that that's an awesome quote. That was at the top of my mind today. There's so many times where I get distracted from things that are not my work, not the things that I'm supposed to be working on. I think it's really easy in this day and age to get caught up with the things that come streaming through. I've got to limit my news consumption. When I moved, I was born and raised here in Los Angeles, and then I left for a while to go to Northern California. That's where I met my wife, Kate. Uh, it's interesting. The day that I moved up to Chico, that was the same day that the slow Bronco chase with O.J. Simpson happened. Clearly remember that on television. We were up in Chico for a couple of years, and then we ended up moving back down to Southern California because I had a job offer with South Coast Repertory to work with their children's theater company. I had worked on a traveling show before, and my wife and I both got job offers. So it was a perfect opportunity. We came down with our son Luke, and yeah, started our life down here. But one of the things that was really prominent on local television, especially in the late night. When did we move down? We moved back down here in like 90. When the heck was it? Was it 96 that I moved back down? 96, moved back down. And boy, they had car chases every night on local news. If you were looking at KNBC in Los Angeles, or I don't know if it was KCBS, they're now like KCAL and everything, but it was just like freeway chase after freeway chase. It's like you couldn't turn on the television without seeing a freeway chase. And this stuff just like littered local news. So you would have local news that would come on at 11 p.m. at night, and it would usually air from like, or at least a late night version of it, but it would be 11 p.m. to 11:30 because they wanted to have that local news before they went to, the Tonight Show or whatever. And man, it just got to a point like those half-hour news programs, local news, just became all about like what was the crime that was happening, what were the car chases that were happening. Like it was nonstop, and people were thrilled by it. Like people were just like they were glued to their seats because you never knew what the heck was going to happen. um I think it finally ended up biting them in the butt. They had a thing, uh, a they would get out the helicopters and they would have eye in the sky versions of it. I remember years ago, some dude held up traffic on the Santa Monica Freeway interchange in the middle of the afternoon. And on live television in the afternoon, he ended up blowing his brains out, you know? And it was one of those moments when we've gone too far. What's my point with this? Uh, you got to be careful about what are your news sources, what's behind it. Um, what are those things that are trying to get your attention? And man, it's a super big challenge. It is a super big challenge sifting through stuff because we have to do two things, right? We're called to do two things. Uh, we're called to be in the world, but not of it, right? We're called to be in the world, but not of it. So, what does that mean? That we have a knowledge of things that are going on, but that we don't get too deep and so entrenched that we forget about what the bigger calling is. And it's hard, man, because you got to sift through stuff. And, and this is a thing that I have slowly learned, specifically over the last, I would say, specifically over the last 5 to 6, if not 10 years. Um, you can't just take a look at headlines that pop out, especially if they're things that are coming off of just news aggregators or whatever you have. If you've got like an Apple News or a Google News or whatever it is, people are out there crafting headlines in order to get you to do what? Click through. And it's also very easy for you to watch something and then you don't get the full story of something. You get like an edited version of it. And full transparency on here, right? Full transparency. Uh, I have conservative leanings. I have conservative leanings. Um, but I also have to be very wary of where I get my sources. I think what I wanted to do was I wanted to at least point out two sources that I tend to go to on a regular basis that I go, you know what? It feels balanced. And I say this not as a full backing them up, but it's one of those things of we need to get to a point where we're taking a look at the full story of everything that's happening. I would highly recommend for news consumption to go to a website that is called allsides.org. Allsides.org. This is specifically a website, and they're a company that they gather the news reporting and news sources from all sides, left, center, and right, in order to see what's going on so that you can take a look at how a story is reported and see what filter or what bent that people have. So allsides.org is something that I tend to go to time and time and time again. Um, yeah. Another one that I've gone to recently, I'll check them out on their website and also sometimes on YouTube. Uh, the Hill, thehill.com. A lot of that tends to be a lot of political stuff. Here's my son hanging out. Take a break, buddy. You're good. Thanks, man. It's the challenge of doing a live show, right? I'm broadcasting from my son's room. He wants to come in. Uh, the Hill, I think it's thehill.com. And why do I specifically first of all, I would first and foremost recommend allsides.org. The reason I want to recommend The Hill is because, yes, they have a left and a right view on news stories. And I don't always agree with them. Even sometimes on the right side, I kind of go, oh, I don't know if they got that right, but there's sort of this feeling that goes, there should be a little pushback. If you are watching something and you tend to agree with everything that's being told to you, right? Be careful. Be careful, right? Because it's very easy to get trapped into, again, like echo chambers or small little rooms where it feels like all we're doing is like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Occasionally we're supposed to hear other opinions and things that make us go, that doesn't sound, I want to hear a little bit more on that. Because I think that's the stuff that's going to get us closer to where we need to be. I'm going to tell you things I absolutely just stay away from. I'm sorry to say it, man, but uh, network news, and I'm going to use ABC Nightly News as a perfect example of it. ABC Nightly News is not a balanced. It's not balanced news reporting. They've got a neat little segment that they do on there every night for their half-hour show, which is Make America. It's America Strong. I think that's the name of the series, where they highlight like a really, neat story of somebody out in America doing stuff. I will tell you, that is not neutral news reporting. It just isn't. Uh, yeah. CNN is not neutral news reporting. Fox News is not neutral news reporting. Um, you got to watch these things. Particularly, I have to say this, I guess I feel this way specifically about news because we're, uh, there's a real fine difference between reporting actual facts, right, of what's going on. What is news reporting? News reporting is basically like, here is an impartial assessment of what is being seen. And then there's another thing to have kind of things reported, but really having major commentary that happens on it. And it's not good. It's almost like you're having somebody, as you're getting a news story reported to you, you're having somebody saying, here's what's happening, and here's how I'm telling you that you should feel about it. And I don't think that that's what the purpose of news should be. I really don't. I think it really should be about, thanks, Charity. I appreciate it. Yes, truth, right? But yes, it's really about like listening, just hearing what's going on and saying, okay, let me disseminate that. Let me figure that out. Yeah. And I'm just going to go on this just for a moment. We also see this happening a lot in entertainment sphere, particularly with a lot of the late night show hosts, talk show hosts, where I get it, man. Like, they have got teams of writers. There can be really funny stuff that comes out, but when you have a tilt to one side, uh, and again, I've talked about this in earlier videos. It's really about trying to have back and forth conversations with people, even when we disagree with people. But we don't get anywhere when we mock people, when we mock other people, make fun of them, and not try to get to the why they may think the way they do, right? Um, and I can understand. I can fully understand why people feel the way that they do, with uh, certain left-leaning or liberal mindsets. I get it. I completely get where that is. Um, I don't know if I see that reciprocated as much. And I get it. You can pull out those things. I am not saying that conservative news reporting is that way either. I see it too. I see it with the henpecking or the mocking or any of that stuff. We're not getting anywhere by doing that. So anyway, I guess I just wanted to talk about that today because boy, oh boy, it definitely can be something that the amount of times that I have been in break rooms or in artistic circles, and you only hear a certain viewpoint of something, and if there's a counter argument to that, that it immediately gets knocked down. I don't think that that's where we should be heading. In general, what do I think? uh, Boy, I think we're having a lot of distraction kind of thrown at us that gets us off course of what we're supposed to be doing. And I have to do it myself, man. I've got to shut off that internet, that LTE network, just so that I can focus on getting the work done. Um, yeah, it's definitely a way to move forward for sure. So just wanted to share those thoughts. Nothing too big today. Um, we got some cool stuff that's coming up on this show. I've had an opportunity with a couple of people that have been reaching out to me about some stuff that they've been going through. And specifically, some of this is art related. Some of it are people that have a Christian background and are trying to move forward with their business. Um, I've actually talked to one person to say, hey, would you be interested in having this conversation on this show? So I think we've got a few of those that are coming pretty soon. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Holly, you are absolutely right, man. We are called for more. That is exactly it. Thanks, Charity. Yeah, we're called for more. I think that sometimes we have these moments where we get, it's noise, isn't it? It's noise, it's subterfuge. I always describe it as this from a Christian worldview. We have to be careful because the enemy wants to come in and plant weeds amongst the good crops, right? When we disseminate everything down, when we really get down to it, um, we're probably more on the same side trying to aim towards the same stuff, right? I always think about this where it's like, guess what, man? I want I want clean air. I want clean water. I want a wonderful community, a safe community. We need to be doing this, right? We're on the same page. You have to be careful when there's these things, anything that comes up that's any of this finger pointing or, hey, did you look at what that person did or how stupid that person is? I always go to that and go, is that is that from God, man? Is that from the Holy Spirit? There's a difference between there's a difference between getting called on the mat for something that you're doing, um, to have you grow, to have you strengthen, to have you become better. And then there's another thing to just kind of like belittle you and not have any room for growth. And if there's anything that has that tone of like, look at this jackass, right? Anything that has that sort of tone, be wary of it. No matter what side it is, whether it's left or right. If it's got that tone that's got a little bit of that mocking to it, it ain't helping. It just ain't helping. Yes, feed love for humanity, not feeding the hatred. Oh, I like this. Holly, that's great. I heard a great term for it. It's a satanic lullaby. It keeps us lukewarm. Isn't that it? Right? Um, People forget this. Like, please realize this. Number one, uh, Satan's real, right? And that Satan, Lucifer, it all comes from light, right? Satan was ultimately a creation of God, and he was beautiful, beautiful. And it can be very lulling. We can hear these things and go, oh, yeah, that sounds about right, right? Remember, Satan is the father of lies. He's the person that can really say things that sound kind of like the truth, but it can be mixed up. And before we know it, it's the what is it? Lobsters in water, or it's the toads, right? It's the frogs in water. Like as you turn up the heat, and uh, they don't seem to recognize that they're starting to boil because they're very comfortable with what's going on. Believe me, guys, that's part of what I'm trying to do with this show. Is I think for a long time, I think it was about, yep. You know what? I'm gonna be fine. I don't want to cause any waves. I don't want to cause any problems. Yep, sure. Everybody's great. I talked about this before in another episode. You do you, your truth, all of that other stuff. I think slowly but surely we're called to speak the truth. We speak the truth um, in love. We speak the truth in strong love, and that's just what we have to do. Sometimes there are yeses and nos. There are things that are real and things that are not real. And as much as we want to ride this line of saying, well, I want to make sure that everybody likes me and that everything's okay, uh, ultimately, in the end, I got to answer to God. I got to answer to what the truth is. I was, you know, part of me when I was starting the show as well. Yeah, you're right, Charity. Absolutely. We should be focusing on being good to people. Satan is tricky. We have to be paying attention. Absolutely. Part of me was also very concerned with starting the show and with the themes I'm addressing on the show because I thought, and I suddenly realized, you know what this is? This is an opportunity to workshop, to workshop some of these thoughts. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to be able to do this. Holly and Charity, thanks for joining me on this, man. It was awesome to have a little back and forth. Um, I will let you guys know again when there's another live stream. I think that there's going to be another live stream on Friday, but as I said, I'm going to be having some guests that are coming on the show where we're actually going to be um, working some stuff out live, um, while helping them through some some career challenges and some questions that they have for themselves. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share this with a friend. Yeah, and go to kevingregg.com. I've got more information that's coming soon. I'm going to be going on different social media outlets so that you can join me there. And there's going to be stuff coming, I think either by the end of next week or the week after that, where there's opportunities for you to support the show as we continue putting this out there. So thanks again, Holly, Cherry. Holly, love you. You're the best. Thanks for joining me this morning, guys. I really appreciate it. This is what we're getting to, right? All right, guys. God bless you. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later. Bye, gang.